Let's try N64. There's some little like audio sounds there you can hear, but that's probably through emulation rather than the tablet itself. Yeah, so it runs perfect. Nice and smooth. This is not the most optimal. I guess I could set up the keyboard, but you know, you'd probably want to play this with like a gamepad or something. But it looks good. The emulation is smooth. The sound actually is fine here. It's just those menus. Okay, so here we are in some Mario 64. Again, you probably want to use a gamepad. Trying to use analog controls on here is just not good. Okay, so I mean, there's no point in continuing. This is working perfect. The sound is near perfect. What I'm doing here, there we go. The sound is near perfect. Really no issue. So that works great. N64. I kind of expected it to run well. Android has been able to run N64 for a long time. Okay, let's try Crisis Core to start. So far it's actually running great. The sound is excellent, and it's loading super quick. I mean, it's loading substantially quicker than running this on a Vita or a PSP actually. Okay, so here we go. Getting a little bit of in-game footage. Should pop over now. So load times are great.
Big Badge reporting for duty, sir. Relax. Listen, if plans change, I'll let you know.
Nothing better than skippable intros. This is going to be brutal to control on the screen here like this, but so as you can see, it's flawless. Speed's great. A couple of hitches every now and then, but that's just loading in new level assets, but yeah, this is great. Yep, so that's working great. So clearly PSP works flawlessly. I mean, Gamecube is pretty challenging for a device like this anyways. And this also may not be the best emulator Doesn't seem to be doing anything actually. It actually doesn't have the best reviews on the Android store. Oh, there it goes. It doesn't have the best reviews on the Android App Store. So, I mean, there's probably better emulators out. This is kind of what I used to use way back, but we'll give it a try. If it even remotely works on this, you know, there's probably going to be other emulators you can use, but... Alright, so here's some back in some gameplay. The sound is a little bit funny, but not terrible. It's lagging out there, and I wonder if that's loading in assets or if that's going to be continual. There's a bit of slowdown. I mean, it's playable. Okay, so here we are back in some Wind Waker after that brutally long intro. Can't remember how to... There we go. Seems to be running decently. I mean, obviously these open world games are more challenging than, you know, something that's 2D or a little bit more primitive, I guess. But if it runs on this... there's a little bit of slowdown. The audio is perfect. This is a little bit of slowdown from time to time, but this is playable. You need a gamepad to make it actually playable, but... yeah, so as I suspected with a lot of these games, you know, the audio is where you get a little bit of funny business. But the actual game itself is running fine, as you can see. There's a few frame drops here and there, like when it loads in that back area there. So this is Panzer Dragoon. This runs actually legitimately perfectly. I'm very bad at this game. But if you're familiar with this game, you'll know how, you can notice how well the frames are and the sound as well. Okay, so that works really quite well. Sonic obviously works well. That was the other game I had loaded up. You know, it's not as demanding, but this was not running quite as well on the M10 tablet. It was running fine, but it was a little bit slow. This is really not a game suited for a touchscreen. You need a gamepad for this, but... apparently I didn't save my game. That's fine. This runs quite well, and you know it has a turbo mode, which is really good. So you know, you can speed it up. But this game actually runs flawlessly. So I'm not sure if it's the Dreamcast emulation just being easier, but you know, it runs really, really well, quite well. Okay, so here's a little bit of actual gameplay. We're past the cutscene. So, you know, playing a game like this with the touchscreen is actually not too bad. Most games I would probably get a touchpad or a gamepad, but this is fine for this type of game. But overall, this is running beautifully, perfectly smooth. From what I can tell, no frame drops whatsoever. Sound is flawless as well. A lot of times that's an issue with emulation. So overall, I'd say this specific emulator isn't quite as good as the Drastic. Drastic runs absolutely perfect. The sound is really good when it runs well, but it just doesn't seem to work on this. And it could be a Chrome OS compatibility thing. I've read a couple threads online in the past that there was some issues with Chrome compatibility, but it was supposed to be addressed. However, apparently not, because it was just crashing. I load up the game and it would just crash out. But in this, it worked perfect. So. Okay, so the graphics are set relatively high here. And it's not choppy at all so far. Let's actually go a little bit even higher. Sure, let's put Ultra and Ultra, see what happens. Oh, didn't like that one. So, I guess that the screen can't handle that. So we'll go HD and we'll go with Ultra here. And let's see how it plays.
Marked a location.
Is that me doing that, or? I don't think so. Yeah, so there's no chop here. So whatever settings those are, you know, basically as high as it lets me go. Seems to be fine. The other tablet had some load in when you were going to a new area. It would pause for a moment. It was fine, but it would have a moment to load in. This one seems to just be nice and smooth. Oh, am I supposed to get these things? Sure. Somebody's shooting me. How's that? Okay, I guess I killed somebody. You knocked out. She dead now? Cool. I killed somebody. Can I get that? Anyways, so yeah, I would have to try to figure out what I'm actually doing here. Yeah, actually let's try, because maybe it will load quicker. Let's see how quickly it loads in assets here. Totally fine. I don't see any lag actually whatsoever as it loads anything. You know, you can do this on any Android device. I used to do it with my my NVIDIA tablet, but you know, this is having a built-in keyboard that works naturally. Seems to work just generally quite well. So you know, you can play older DOS games. You can probably play some fairly recent ones too. But let's test this out here. So the sound is good. You know, we're getting the, I guess it's the kind of ad-lib kind of sound. Keyboard works perfectly. So, you know, we're getting a lot of, basically we're just using it right away. ScummVM in general works quite well with devices. It works well on Android devices, but, you know, the sound is great. No issues there. It's not having issues recognizing it. Everything seems to work fine. You know, so really any of these, you know, ScummVM based games, anything that's going to be, Sierra or LucasArts, they're going to work great. So, you have access to hundreds, if not thousands of games in that sense, which is beautiful. Oh, another Sierra game. Actually, forgot this was made by Sierra. There's a little bit of weird sound in the DOSBox, but I mean, there's a lot of settings you can change in DOSBox. So.
We could sure use a little light in here.
Super loud, wow. Great sound though. I don't know how good it comes across on camera, but it sounds great to me. The mouse is not necessarily integrated right now. I have to play around with that, but I know it'll end up working eventually. Oh, you can use touchscreen. So I'll have to figure out if I can get the trackpad to work, but I'm sure it's usable. But you can use that, or you can use this. But actually, a touchscreen is really nice, actually. Yeah, that's the one. Start machine. Yeah, so it works fine. So that's another thing to consider. You don't just have access to, Windows games or to Android games. You have access to. Let's just close that right out. You have access to basically DOS across the board. You have access to older text-based games, action games. You have access to point-and-click games, and they all run really, really well.